Let's get one thing straight to start it off for this video. People are always asking, do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man! You mean the one who lives on Drury Lane? Yes. And also, how far do you throw, Mr. YouTube Man? But before we dive in and answer that question, we gotta ask the most important question. How are you doing today, Donald? Are you having a good day?
So catch me if I fall.
Now, Donald's out there running to Daisy right now saying, hey. That was a terrible Donald Duck impression. That was my bad, guys. We want to talk about, today I want to talk about something that I feel like if you want to take a next step in your game, it's an activity or something that you should go out and do, especially if you find yourself wanting to play tournaments in the future, or even you're watching this video on a Tuesday or Thursday and you've got a tournament coming up this weekend. Stop the video, go drive to a field, and then hit play. Or I guess you could play it on your way to the course, but don't watch it, because watching and driving, terrible idea. I love playing with beginners, amateurs, any of the sort, even pros occasionally. That's why I'm here in Lynchburg this weekend to play and hang out with pros, not play the World Championships, caddying for the World Championships, but you get the gist. So I was thinking of a video idea, and in playing with amateurs, one of the things that comes up quite often is we'll walk up to a hole that's say 310, 320 feet, and the player will be like, yeah, I totally can get a mid-range there. 320? Oh, I'm hitting that with the Thunderbird easy. I think the reality is lots of us actually have no idea how far we legitimately throw, because we rarely put ourselves on a flat field throwing in calm condition. Because of this, we are walking into a course with misinformation stored inside of our heads. And when we have that misinformation, it actually holds us back from scoring as effectively as we possibly could. So, because I want this video to not necessarily be like a 25-minute video, I want to get out here in the field and I want to throw my discs in my bag so that I have an accurate representation of how far do I throw, especially testing certain lines. I want to throw them on hyzer, I want to throw them flat, I want to throw them on anhyzer, and I want to throw some on forehand. There's one thing when it comes to scoring effectively on a course where you know how your discs fly in terms of, oh, when I throw my eagle on this much hyzer, it's going to stand up, or if I throw it on this much hyzer, it's not going to stand all the way up and it's going to be a pushing hyzer. There's another world entirely where I know how far I'm throwing the discs so that when I step up to a hole, I can say, oh, it's a 250-foot hole. Perfect. I can throw a insert blank, 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 and I have those options available to me, or I can take power off of another shot if it's uphill, or if it's uphill and it's that distance, I know that I'm gonna need the next level power threshold, because on flat ground, I only throw this Luna X amount of distance. And of course, there are the people that are gonna watch this video solely for the sake of trashing me here on the internet and saying, Mr. YouTube Man, how do you feel qualified to teach people because you only throw this far and you have these issues? Crazy concept that maybe I haven't put in the time or the effort, or maybe I am just so ingrained in habits that I'm not pushing myself past the threshold, which is also why I have a coach to help coach me through these things, because sometimes having an extra set of eyes actually helps you improve your own problems. But if you are interested in lessons, I'm actually doing lessons through Foundation Disc Golf now, so you can book them through their website, foundationdisc.com. You'll find a light item that is Robbie C Lessons, and I do those lessons virtually. They're 30-minute lessons. Feel free to book one. Now, for the real sake of this video, you would want to be throwing everything on a multitude of angles. You would be wanting to throw things on hyzer. You wanting to throw things flat. You would want to throw things on anhyzer, because it's definitely something that if I walk up to a hole and I know, hey, I need to throw an anhyzer shot around the corner because it's maybe not a forehand, it's an anhyzer, but it's 280 feet. Can I get a putter there? I don't know. This is an activity that if you play tournaments competitively or you're looking to go that next step in your game, I would encourage you to do this probably once every 3 months at least, to keep your shots dialed and to have the proper information out there while you're trying to score. Also, you're trying to do this in calm conditions. And when I was setting up and stretching, it was calm conditions. And now we got a slight headwind. Let's see what we got. Cue the montage, Silas. We're ripping these together. There it is. Game on. Okay, rangefinder onto the bag, and we have 160, 200. That pig was 240, 260, and then the Luna went 287. Next up are the mids. I'm not even gonna throw the Justice on a backhand because we know that ain't nothing. Keeping the memes rolling straight into the ground at 170. Next up was the backhand at 270. Then we had 281, and then last but not least, 293. Now the fun part is throwing in a headwind that your fairway drivers could fight the wind more, but also be more susceptible to the wind. So we got 3 eagles, 2 ozones. In full transparency, obviously we know the distance is the craziest weakness in my game. I know it, and so there's already a self-consciousness of throwing on the internet. When you say, oh, I'm gonna throw for distance here, it's gonna be a great time. And then the Lord himself just laughing that when I set up, there was no wind, and now I'm throwing and there's just nothing but wind. Like most days at NNY, we just don't have it on the backhand distance. So we're not even gonna try the distance drivers on backhand because it just, welcome to my struggle of when I take myself to a field, I either always seem to feel like I end up in conditions where I just don't get to actually throw normal shots to see whatever in our baseline is. So if you get to try and implement this video, we're keeping it real here, people. If the conditions are like this, just stop. Just stop. You don't have to make a video to post content to the internet. Anyways, 273, 275, 281. I want to say this was 281 because this was 323. There was a 3-3. Yeah, 281. This was 310 and then 323. Let's see if over safer pick stands a chance. The pigs were the most disappointing, I will be honest. Well, I mean, a lot of it was disappointing, okay, like almost most of my throws, but 230, 250, 273, 310, 334, 348, 363, 368, 374, and then this one tapped out at 386. Thank you, Nate. So what did we learn today, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I think we learned a couple things. Let's start with lesson number 1. I'm still trash at backhand. Lesson 2, and the one that actually pertains to you, is that once again, if you find yourself doing this drill, I really do think that it is a great testament to knowing what shot shaping potential you have. Honestly, thinking about, like, I know my number, because I do this a lot, I know my number for forehanding pigs is about 280. Into this headwind, that totally makes sense. 250 with both of them burning over like that, 230 and 250, totally lines up. That makes a ton of sense. When I think about if you're coming to this and you've never done this drill before, if you show up and the wind is blowing sideways like this, please walk away. I don't want you to have to experience this. It's not a fun feeling. My friend Jason rolled up while I was in the middle of it. I'm not in the best of moods. Why? Because you should leave while you can. But I'm not here to be dramatic or anything. And lesson number 3 is that I really do think that this is a helpful tool that you should try out when you have the opportunity. So that is gonna wrap it up for today's video. How many of you have ever done this drill, and what variations to this drill do you find? Once again, I didn't really showcase it a lot here because the wind really died things down, and because there was the loud thunder, I didn't want to get struck by lightning. I would suggest when you do this, test it on Anheuser, test it on Heiser, test flat shots, because you're going to be able to see that disc fly. And even if you want to visualize some obstacles, or, oh man, I usually struggle with hole 7 at my local course, bring some cones out. You can really utilize a field to your advantage to see how you're getting a disc to fly. And in the video we did where we talked to the pros and asked questions, I think of Carter Aaron's tip of like, learn to get that distance and then you can dial in the accuracy later. This is one of the best ways, coming out here and grinding this type of momentum. If I wasn't afraid of my elbow, if I was like, this is what I should be doing. Instead of preaching how bad I am at backhand, I should find myself in a field, in a net, utilizing, trying to push that barrier. And you know what? If I get some people to agree with me in the comments, we'll do it together. That's what we'll do. We will push. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that this is a helpful exercise for you. And I hope the transparency doesn't turn people off. My noodle arm might turn people off, but once again, maybe I am just Red Skull, and that is my curse. I will guide you all to the treasure. Feel free to check it out, foundationdisc.com. There are lessons for Robbie C there. I would love to help you. I promise it'll be a much better time. So, hope you guys have a great hope you have a great rest of your day. Please make it fantastic for someone else too. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie.